You are listening to the Punt and Pass podcast. It is week 6. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined, as always, by my co-host, Aaron Murray. And Aaron, we had another fantastic week. Week 5 for the Punt and Pass podcast was awesome as expected against the spread. You went 3-0. I went 2-1, so a little cold streak, you could say. The hot streak has ended, and it looks like week 6 is going to follow up, and we have an awesome podcast episode for all of our listeners. This week, we got some great games coming up. We're going to touch on the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide traveling to College Station to take on Texas A&M. LSU, after that terrible loss against Troy, travels to the Swamp and plays the number 21 ranked Gators. And then we're going to do a little pick'em for the third game. We're going to touch on Georgia heading to Vanderbilt, Ole Miss going to Auburn. It's another awesome week across the SEC. Speaking of the SEC, we have another fantastic guest that you have lined up for us, Aaron, former Texas A&M quarterback and current Atlanta Falcon. That'd be Trevor Knight. So Trevor's going to join us throughout midway through the show. And for all of us that have helped us reach number 25, Aaron, number 25 on iTunes, the Punt and Pass podcast makes an appearance because we got 137 ratings, 103 reviews, 133 of those ratings, Aaron, 5 stars, dude. So we're going to give out a signed football and some official Georgia football gloves. We love hearing from y'all at Punt and Pass on Twitter, at Punt and Pass on Instagram, puntandpass@gmail.com if you got something long form for us. Aaron, enough of me talking. What's going on, dude? How's everything been?
Doing good, man. Staying busy. Had a fun weekend, I must say. I got to cover the Air Force game in New Mexico, and for 2 teams that run the triple option, it was actually pretty exciting to kind of see both these guys go at it. A lot of points, an hour and a half rain delay. So we kind of, man, it was crazy. We sat in the booth forever. Good thing I brought up some like pizza and some good food. I'm just munching up there, hanging out in the booth. I'm feeling like Coach Bobo up there with my Diet Coke. So it was fun. It was, like I said, very surprising. You know, you think 2 teams that run the triple option, they see it all spring, they see it all camp. They kind of have, figured out how to stop it defensively, but it was just lights out. Both offenses just run up and down the field. So it was a lot of action. It was fun for me to call, and getting ready for my next game, heading to Reno, Nevada this week to cover Hawaii against Nevada. So I'm just stressing a little bit right now, trying to memorize all these crazy names that the Hawaii players have. So it's going to be a challenge for me just to pronounce these guys' names, but it'll be another fun game to cover.
Yeah, I was going to say I know you pretty well, and you're a studious guy. You're a smart guy, but the pronunciation, I will tune into the game just to hear you butcher these Hawaiian names.
There's going to be butching left and right. It's going to be pretty bad. I'm having Sharon, my girlfriend, kind of start quizzing me every night to make sure I'm ready to rock and roll. And I also got to pronounce it's Nevada, not Nevada. Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
Yeah,
so
my producer called me today, and we had a little lesson about the proper way to pronounce Nevada.
Yeah, speaking of Nevada.
That's right?
Yeah. Speaking of Nevada, man, we just had to mention on the podcast awful recent events in Las Vegas. Thoughts and prayers to everyone out there. What a terrible massacre. I mean, it was just absolutely disgusting. This deranged terrorist lunatic. Man, such a sad sight to see because for me, Aaron, I'm not sure about you, but I love Las Vegas. I make a yearly, I wish it was weekly, I make a yearly pilgrimage there with my boys every single year. And the saddest part, not only is the people that lost their lives, but you go to Vegas to let your guard down. You go there to have a good time. The worst thing that's going to happen, maybe you have too many pops, wake up in the morning, bad hangover. But man, thoughts and prayers to all the families affected and to the city of Las Vegas, Nevada. And then, dude, right after that, Tom Petty passes away. R.I.P. Tom Petty, total ledge. That guy's the man. I'll tell you right now, Aaron, I was on the golf course today. I was walking 9 by myself at TPC Sugarloaf, newly renovated Pines course. It was awesome, and I had my headphones in. I just jammed out to Tom Petty's greatest hits. So a little self-reflection, hitting the white ball around. You did not get the invite. You gave me some flack on Instagram.
Yeah, unbelievable. No invite.
Well, you work too much.
Yeah, I do work too much. I need a little vacation already. But
tell your boss, Will Matthews, to let you go to the golf course. We can talk shop on the golf course.
Will can come golf with us too. But speaking of the Vegas incident, I was actually doing some work today with Ram trucks. We were delivering clothes to the Salvation Army that's going to be sent off to hurricane victims both in Florida and Puerto Rico. And one of the girls doing the pictures for us for Ram Trucks told us that she's from Vegas, and her dad was actually working the concert. He was one of the guys in charge of the venue, and she said it was just craziness. He said they were shuffling people in and out, people were running around, and it was just a just awful sight to see. So, like you said, I'm gonna say too, our thoughts and prayers with everyone in Vegas for what happened this past weekend, and then obviously with Tom Petty dying, that's just craziness, man. It was a crazy day yesterday in the U.S. Could have used some golf. I could have been on the golf course with you, hitting some balls to kind of release some stress too. But yeah, let's get rolling for a fun week of football, though, man. It's gonna be another exciting week for us. Exciting for all you fans to tune in, listen to us, and watch some good football.
Yeah, let's get rolling. Let's get to the good stuff for sure. Speaking of good stuff, I know I mentioned it when we just opened up the show, but dude, Punt and Pass podcast skyrockets up the rankings on iTunes. We reached number 25 in the sports and recreation category. There are some heavy hitters on that list. Dan Patrick, forget about it. Mike and Mike, see you later. We went up there, and that's all thanks to our fans and listeners, dude. We put a little challenge out on social media, again, at Punt and Pass across the board, and we said we needed 100 reviews. Now, we got 137 ratings, but the reviews are when you actually write in the box and talk about how good Aaron is, how bad I am, how terrible the podcast is, all that good stuff. But we got 103 reviews. I scrolled through them, and I took some screenshots. So I've got some that I'm going to read out to you right now.
Oh, please be entertaining. Please be pretty.
You get to pick who wins.
Are you going to say names, or are you just going to say what they said, and then I'll pick?
Well, you tell me. What would you rather have?
Just don't names, because I don't want that to help me at all. Just say what they said, and I'll pick whichever one I think's the best.
All right, here's the first one, okay? Great pod, first I've subscribed to. Glad 2 former Bulldogs are at the helm. Butler has great picks. He's even won me some money. I'll let Murray slide on the Mississippi State game just this one time. All right, there's your first
one. I like that one. I
won't tell you who wrote it. Next one. They break down upcoming games and give in-depth coverage on nuances you won't hear anywhere else. That's a pretty good one.
Very true.
Enjoyed Week 5 podcast. Although Aaron caught a lot of grief for picking Mississippi State, he was doing his job. Like he said, the dogs are his heart. He was picking a winner based off videos, and we can't fault him for that. Great podcast. I look forward to listening to more. Go Dogs.
This is getting tough, man. This is getting real tough.
All right, here we go. I got one more for you. This one's a bit comedic, but it had me laughing. AM11 and Brew Drutler are great. Great hearing insight from Aaron when he goes back to UGA. Brew has a golden voice. He should do commercials for Cali and Tito's on the radio. Murray is 5'10" on a good day, but he has the stature and confidence of a young Burt Reynolds. Yeah, come on. That's a pretty good one.
I mean, that's phenomenal. Just, oh, who man, wins? This is too good.
I know, that last
one is phenomenal. I just think, oh, goodness gracious. That's all good. The creativity, you got to go with the creativity. I'm going with 4. Just, who was it? Who's our winner?
It's Micah Lou 85. So Micah Lou 85. Email us, puntandpass@gmail.com, and we will get your information and send you that signed football and some official UGA gloves, the ones that Sony Michel wears, Nick Chubb wears, all the guys. So I love the creativity, and we'll come up with another contest on social media. Follow Aaron at Murray11, Aaron Murray11. Follow me at Drew Butler 13, and we'll keep giving you guys what you want. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to hear, and we'll bring that to you right here on the Punt and Pass podcast.
You know what I want to hear?
What's that?
I want to hear your voice over Cali and Tito's. That's what I want to hear.
My
I love it. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great sponsor. Idea. Cali and Tito's is a great sponsor, but I got to stay with my heart. I'm a Royal Peasant, man. I told you that. The Royal Peasant. Okay,
fine. I'm the Cali and Tito's guy. You'll be the Royal Peasant.
Perfect.
We'll see if they want to work some deals with us.
Perfect. All right, so let's recap Week 5 real quick. You went 3-0 against the spread, and what a week for the Georgia Bulldogs it was. They were a 7.5-point favorite, and they absolutely whooped Tennessee's ass 41-0. That was awesome to see. The second pick I missed on. I thought Mississippi State would bounce back just a little bit. It seems like it is trouble in paradise. I mean, trouble in Starkville, Mississippi. They got blown out by Auburn 49-7. 10. And then a game that we both agreed on, and if our listeners listen to what we say, we know what we're talking about. We said Clemson would absolutely whoop up on Virginia Tech, and that's exactly what they did. They covered, and they won by a score of 31-17. Good job, Murray. 3-0 against the spread. An interesting week just a week ago. I'm going to bring up one more team. We didn't talk about them on the podcast last week, but Alabama just destroyed Ole Miss, a team that they have had some recent trouble with. I know Ole Miss is going through a bit of a transition period with Hugh Freeze getting the boot before the season, but, dude, that was an absolute stomping of another SEC West rival. And it seems like, Aaron, Georgia and Alabama are on a collision course set for Atlanta. That would be the SEC championship the first weekend in December.
Yeah, crazy weekend. Let's go back to the UGA Tennessee game, and not only a great weekend for Georgia fans, but what an awful weekend for Tennessee fans. I turned the game, and you got Tennessee fans starting fights not with Georgia fans, but with each other, and you're just like, you beat a team down when you have fans for your opponent beating each other up. And it was a rough day for those Tennessee fans. It was an even rougher day for Butch Jones, who, if his seat wasn't hot enough, I mean, it is just scorching hot right now. I mean, his job, who knows if he makes it to the season. If not, it's crazy, man. It's the SEC football. That's what, if he was complaining about the media last week, I'm sure he's going to be complaining even more about the media this week. It's just, he has to realize this is the SEC, man. If you're not producing, you're going out there and just getting your butt spanked on Saturday, you're not going to have a job. And he's going to be looking for a new job coming into the season.
So what's the way? Is it recruiting, or are they saving it so he can bring these recruits in still, talk to them, show them around Tennessee? Because this ship has sailed. I mean, Butch Jones is not going to be the coach at Tennessee next year.
Oh, it's completely sailed. And the thing that's good for all these other SEC schools, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Auburns, is now all these commitments from Tennessee. They see this, and they hear all the chatter, and every coach is calling these recruits that have committed to Tennessee and saying, hey, you're not only committing to that team, but you're committing to that head coach. And the chance of that head coach being there next year has drastically gone down. So, I don't think he'll be there next year. And the coaches for these other SEC schools, like I said, are just licking their chops saying, hey, we're these big-time recruits going to Tennessee. Yeah, they're not going there anymore. They're coming to us.
It's crazy, and going back to, like you said, the Alabamas and what Georgia did to Tennessee at Alabama, and I know you've played with some Crimson Tide alumni in the NFL. I had the pleasure to be teammates with some as well. They have a mantra, and these guys carry the mantra, and the mantra is make their ass quit. That's what Alabama says going into football games. I remember 2 years ago in 2015, Georgia was a favorite in Athens against Alabama. I think it's the only time Alabama's been an underdog in like the past 8 years. That's a fact, okay? Rashad Johnson, former team captain in Alabama, we were both on the Arizona Cardinals, and he was talking all week. I cannot believe Georgia's a favorite. We are going to spank y'all. And I'm going, what are you talking about? Georgia, I believe, was in the top 5 at that point. He goes, we're going to make your ass quit. I laughed it off. We put a little money on the line. Dude, the game was over by the time the first quarter was done. They ran roughshod on Georgia. And guess what? That's what Georgia did to Tennessee. Kirby Smart is bringing that mantra to Athens, and the players are buying in. It's obvious from what you see when you watch these games.
I think it's obvious. I think these players finally had that confidence that it's something I don't think we had. I think we went into games a little bit when I was at Georgia, and we had the mindset of, we're going to Tennessee, or we're going to Alabama, or we're going to South Carolina, and this is going to be a close game. That was in our head all week from Monday till Saturday. This is going to be a close game. And these guys are going to this game saying, we are going to kick some butt, man. Screw this. I don't care how good this team is. I don't care if we're going to their home. We're going to put 40 on them, and we're not going to let them score. This isn't going to be a close game. And the mindset is just completely changed. I think everyone's jumping on board. I think the fans got to jump on board. The players are on board. There's a lot of excitement right now. And I think it's just leadership. We talked about it last week on the podcast as well. I just think there's such great leadership on this team on both sides of the football. The guys that decided to take another year and come back for their senior year to say, listen, we have something special. We got a great senior class. If we all come and band together in Kirby's second year, we can do something special. And right now, they're making a fan of everyone, I think, in the country.
Yeah, it's fun to watch because they're confident, they're playing fast, they're playing physical, and it's easy to buy in when you get the results that you want. And that's exactly what these guys are doing. They're putting the work in Monday through Thursday, knowing that they're doing what it takes, and then it's translating to Saturday, and that's what makes football fun. Again, I'm going to go back to a previous experience. I was on the 2015 Arizona Cardinals. We went 13-3, and we played in the NFC Championship game. It's just a feeling, and Aaron, you know that. It's just a feeling like, hey, we're going to go into this game, and we're going to win. You know, we're going to go to Philly on a Sunday night in December, and it doesn't matter if they're on a 4-game winning streak. We're going to win because we know what it takes. We've done it before, and Georgia has that mentality right now. So this is my plea, Aaron. Do you want to hear my plea to Georgia?
Let's go. Bring it on.
All right.
Bring it on.
All right. Here's my plea to all Georgia Bulldog fans. I am sick of the pessimism. I am sick of the constant worry. Oh, well, I mean, Mississippi State, they look pretty good against LSU. No, we were going to beat Mississippi State, and that's exactly what they did. Oh, no, but now we have to go to Neyland, and we never play good there. Come to the Punt and Pass podcast, and I tell you, Georgia is going to whoop up on Tennessee. And guess what? You can even find some fans that are going, man, well, we lost to Vanderbilt last year, and Nashville's tough, especially at 11 a.m. game. Dude, are you kidding me? With this defense and this special teams, it's time to get cocky if you're a Georgia fan. And let me just tell you one thing, okay? I am married to an Alabama alumni, okay? Do you know what it's like? Do you know what it's like being with an Alabama fan on a Saturday? They don't even care. They know they're going to win.
Yeah, that's what you need. They walk into every game confident. They're just saying, listen, we already won before we walked in the stadium.
It's
a huge advantage.
It's a huge advantage. Week 1, they're going to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, neutral site, playing the number 3 ranked Florida State Seminoles. My wife didn't. We watched the game on mute. She knows they're going to win. Georgia fans, it's time to take on that mentality. You have Nick Chubb. You have Sony Michel. You've got playmakers in Terry Godwin and Mecole Hardman. The offensive line is picking up the slack from last year. This defense, I mean, I hate to use the word, but they're full of savages. That's what they are. They put the turnover pads on. Punt team has not let up one return yard. Rodrigo's kicking it through the uprights. The dude's had like 25 straight touchbacks. Georgia's playing like a team. Kirby Smart has them rolling. Georgia fans, get cocky. Tell everyone we are going to run roughshod over Vanderbilt this week. Missouri 2 weeks from now is going to be an ass whooping in Sanford Stadium. And then we get a week off. And let's fire up the troops. We're going to Jacksonville in Florida. It's going down. Georgia's going to win the game because they got what it takes, and that's my plea to Georgia fans. Embrace the moment. Get cocky. Just enjoy it. It's the first time that you've had a team like this in forever. Enjoy the moment. Aaron, what do you think about that right there? What do you think about me going scorched earth on the Georgia Bulldog Nation?
I absolutely love it. I'm going to take a little page out of Butch Jones's diary we just made fun of a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make the same plea that he made, but for Georgia fans and to the media as well, as everyone jump on board, not the fans, but the media too.
Yeah, come on.
Because the media, man, they can get after you too, and they can start putting these little sprinkles of negativity out there. And I guess I got to get on myself a little bit. I had some negativity a couple weeks ago with the Mississippi State pick. Yeah, doing your job. But even the media, the guys are in the locker room day in and day out interviewing the players, interviewing the coaches. No more negativity. This team's good. There's no this week in media day, which I think occurred this morning. No jumping in there and saying, hey, guys, you lost last week. What do you think about going back again and playing Vanderbilt or any of that nonsense? It starts from the media, the fans, the players, the coaches, all of Athens, the students. Man, this is a full-on thing, man. Everyone has to jump on board. It starts with everyone.
And the players are doing their part. You know, the media can try to scratch and claw at some negative storylines, but when you are absolutely dominating teams 31-3, 41-0, they're not going to have much to write about except what's going to happen next week. And Kirby Smart says it, and I have to give him credit because he's the head coach. He says humility is a week away, and I think that's the right mindset to have. Hey, humility is a week away, but guess what? It's going to be another week away after we take care of Vanderbilt this weekend. And when I went through the offense, Aaron, I mentioned Sony Michel. I mentioned Nick Chubb. I mean, you could throw DeAndre Swift in there, the receivers, the offensive line's been playing great. I didn't mention two names that I think are on the minds of most Georgia fans right now, and that is Jake Fromm and Jacob Eason. You and I have to hash it out right here, right now, because this storyline, if they don't take care of it, it's going to fester and have the potential to create problems within the locker room. What happens? Eason gets in late in the game against Tennessee. Fromm's 5-0. Where do you go from here if Eason's fully healthy?
You stick with Fromm right now. That's my opinion. And I'm a little sad right now because I was looking forward to seeing Jacob this year. And I've said all along, the biggest jump you have is from year 1 to year 2. And I think with this defense, with how well the offensive line is coming together right now, the running game, all the factors are there. And I think Jacob Eason could easily go out there and play extremely well. And if he was a quarterback right now, I would feel just as confident as Fromm is right now going out there and playing. But I just think right now he is the hot hand. I think the players around him are feeding off his energy, the way he plays. I think the coaches are loving his energy. And he's just a great leader. He's a guy that's just easy to be around. He's easy to follow. And I just think it starts from day one when he got there in January to the way he worked in the film room, to the way he was calling guys out to go out there and catch balls and organizing team activities. And he did something that very few true freshmen do. And it's tough, man. It's tough to be a true freshman, to step in that huddle and from day one gain the confidence of your teammates. And he's been able to do that. So I'm sticking with Fromm. He is the hot hand. He has the trust of his teammates, and that's a big thing to win over. And you're winning. It's a tough thing to do to change the ship when you change the captain when things are going good right now.
Yeah, and it's cliche to say. It is a cliche, but he has the it factor. You hear people say it again and again, but he just goes out there and proves it. Wasn't the best start for him in Knoxville, but they continue to get first downs. He extends plays and runs the ball to get first downs. He finds the end zone. He moves the team, 87 yards down the field to go up 17-0, things like that, where you're going, man, this kid gets it. And he missed, he gets man coverage there early in the game. Sonny Michel runs that wheel route. He was wide open, and from freshman moment, he goes to the sideline, gets chewed out, comes back in the game, delivers. Yeah,
he comes back, and we have to keep reminding ourselves that this is only his 5th game playing. I mean, there's a lot for him to continue to learn. He's going to face great defenses, and the key for not only him but for the fans, for the team, for Kirby, is if he has that moment. And he had that moment, like you said, in that game, the first series versus Tennessee, where it's a simple man zone read. If it's man, you're going to read the will linebacker, and if there's a pick, you're going to throw the will route. It's an easy touchdown. If it's zone, there's probably a zone concept on the right side that he would work, and he picked the right side. He just didn't let the play develop, and that's just a freshman mistake. First series, loud stadium, but to not get on him so hard if he does make those freshman mistakes, because they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone happens. They happen when you're a sophomore, junior, senior. You're going to have those moments. And as a fan base, the last thing you can do is if he has a bad quarter or a bad half or a bad game, and I'm not saying he's going to have that moment, but if he does, to give him some slack and not say, okay, let's put Eason back in now.
Okay, but what are the coaches saying?
If he's our guy as a coaching staff, as a fan base, you're saying, I'm going to stick with this guy through thick and thin the rest of the way. And unless an injury comes up, or he's just saying maybe he has 2 or 3 really bad games, then maybe you can consider it. But you can't go a bad half or a bad game and say, okay, now we're putting Eason back in.
Yeah, but they're not telling Eason that. They're not telling that to Jake Fromm. They're telling Jake Fromm, keep it up or Eason's going in the game. I mean, I have this feeling, all right? And you cannot take away anything that Jake Fromm has done. It's been awesome. The dude's 5-0, true freshman, back-to-back huge conference wins. But here's the thing, Aaron. There's going to come a time, right? You're going to go to Jacksonville and play Florida, which will be the best defensive front this offensive line has seen up to that point. And there's going to come a time where Fromm's getting his teeth kicked in. They're getting pressure with that front 7. 3-man rush, getting to the quarterback. And we're going to have to push the ball downfield, right? I don't think Fromm can make the throws that Eason can make, and I think he'd probably be the first person to admit that. What are the coaches telling the quarterbacks right now? Because I have a feeling there's going to come a time and point, whether it's Florida or whether it's Auburn, that we're going to need that big arm to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball downfield for chunk yardage. And I think the coaches know that. That's why they're playing this so close to the chest. They're not telling Jake Fromm, hey, we're all behind you. Go out there and you can afford to have 3 bad quarters in Nashville. And if we're down 7 points with 10 minutes left, What are they telling these guys, Aaron? You're a quarterback. Let me know, please.
If I'm a coach, I'm picking a guy. That's the worst thing you can do is have the uncertainty. If you look at Florida heading in the season with the uncertainty at quarterback and the flip flop back and forth between Del Rio and Felipe Franks, and it's just a mind game, especially for these young quarterbacks. And I feel bad going back to Felipe Franks for Florida to be benched in the Michigan game, to be benched after 2 weeks ago and not start this past week. For a young quarterback, it's tough because now you're thinking, man, my coach has no faith in me.
Yeah.
If I go out there and have a bad game, a bad quarter, bad half, whatever it might be, then I'm not going to be the starter next week. And you can't go into a game as a quarterback thinking and having that worry on your mind that every play has to be perfect, because if not, I'm going to be benched. And that's why I'm saying, if you're a coach, you pick your guy, you stick with your guy, and let him develop, let him become better, let him have those ups, let him have those downs, because like I said, the last thing you want is that kid doubting himself and doubting that you have faith in him as a coach. And if you start letting that creep in for Fromm, if he does have that bad half, then all hell could break loose for him, and that's the last thing you want from your starting quarterback.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question, and I need your answer, but there's going to be two answers. You play Kirby Smart, okay? Jake Fromm walks into your office. Give me 2 sentences that you say to Jake Fromm, and then Jacob Eason walks into your office right afterwards, and give me the 2 sentences you tell Jacob Eason moving forward. So
I'm telling Jake Fromm as soon as he walks in, you're our guy. Go out there and be the leader we need you to be. 2 sentences right there.
Ooh, giddy up. All right,
there you
Jacob
go.
Eason, your 5-star prized recruit from just 1 year ago, who is now 100% healthy off of a scary knee sprain. Go.
Be ready, because you never know what can happen.
That's just great, isn't it? I mean,
right there, that's it. You don't know. Look at him.
Yeah.
First game this season, was it second possession?
Yep.
And he's out, and then all of a sudden things change. You just never know what can happen in football. It takes one play for something crazy to happen, and all of a sudden you need another guy to jump in and play. And for him, his key for this season and going on right now is to not think about next year, not start planning, okay, if I'm not the guy, I need to start looking at these other schools and start prepping to see, where I might want to transfer to. For him right now, it's what can I do to be a great leader for this football team? And that's only going to continue to encourage guys to work hard no matter what. And 2, to be ready, because when that moment comes, and say something does happen to Fromm and he's hurt, or he's just playing awful for a few games, and all of a sudden Eason's called in to play, the last thing you want is your teammates to say, well, Eason's been kind of slacking in practice, and Eason really hasn't been putting in the work, and I don't know if he's ready to go. You want to be ready, and you want to show your teammates in practice and film study that, hey, if something happens, no worries, boys, because I'm ready to come in there and kick some ass.
Yeah.
And that's his job right now, is to go out there every day and demonstrate that to his teammates.
All right, so now I'm Kirby Smart. Jake Fromm walks into my office. I look at him and I say, kid, you've been doing great. Keep doing what you're doing so I don't have to make a decision. A couple pats on the back. Go have a great practice. Now, Eason walks in, and this is all I tell him. Hey, we're going to need you, so be ready. We're going to need you. We're going to need you, whether it's in Jacksonville or at Jordan-Hare in Auburn. You will play a part in us getting to Atlanta. I think that's what he's telling both those guys, and that remains to be seen. But guess what? Fromm's 5-0. Eason's played in 2 games now. It's fun to watch, and this will continue to fester. But if you have any sense, you listen to the Punt and Pass podcast, fire up what Aaron and I just said, and you have the answers right at your fingertips. Well, dude, that was pretty sweet. And guess what? Now we have a fantastic guest about to join the Punt and Pass podcast, Trevor Knight, former Texas A&M quarterback, but also former Oklahoma quarterback that was the 2014 Sugar Bowl MVP, and he beat the 2-time reigning national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. He's currently with the Atlanta Falcons. So without further ado, let's bring on Trevor Knight to the Punt and Pass podcast. All right, we're going to welcome in this week's guest here. It's week 6, the Punt and Pass podcast, and we have a special guest that Aaron Murray was able to get us. He is the former Texas A&M quarterback and currently now in the Southeast as a member of the Atlanta Falcons. Trevor Knight joins the show. Trevor, how you doing, man?
Doing great, guys. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely, dude. Big week for you. Texas A&M alumni, and Alabama is coming into town. That's the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. They are rolling into College Station, and the reason we wanted you on this week's podcast is because you have done something that very, very few people know what feels like, and that is beat Alabama. That's right. You were the quarterback for Oklahoma during the 2014 Sugar Bowl. You were the MVP of that game, and y'all beat the 2-time reigning national champion Alabama Crimson Tide by a score of 45-31. Tell us how that felt. What was that game like?
Man, first of all, it seems like forever ago now. College football is a unique time in your life, and now that it's over, I look back and it feels like a blink of an eye, but it also feels like that was so long ago. But yeah, I was a redshirt freshman that year, and we went in kind of the underdog, and were able to come out with a big-time win for our program over Alabama. And when it boils down to it, I think what makes it special is just the fact that Alabama has done what they've done over the past decade or two. They're so consistent with winning, and it's really national championship or bust with them right now. So to be able to go and do that, I think it was big for our program. It was big for me as a player, and quite frankly, it's just a really, really cool memory that I get to hang my hat on nowadays.
Trevor, thanks for coming on with us. Quick question from me. You guys have a true freshman quarterback playing this weekend versus Oklahoma, and he's looked well, and I'm talking about Kellen, looked well throughout the season. They've rolled off 4 in a row right now. What kind of advice do you have for him going against, it is a home game, but you're going against a defense that's giving up 8 points a game right now? And just so, if I'm him, what are you saying to me heading into this game?
Well, you look at what he's done so far this year as a true freshman. He came in after the starter got hurt in the first game of the year and went 3 for 17 passing. So that's not necessarily a confidence builder. But then back that up with a couple good performances, including a big one against Arkansas in Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And then he played well this past week, too. So I think for him, he's just building confidence every week. And my advice for him would be, don't make it any bigger than it is. It is Alabama, and what they've been able to do over the last couple decades is incredible. But go out there and just play football. And I think Noel Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator, does a great job of just instilling confidence in his guys at the quarterback position. So, he's going to go out there and he's going to play the best of his ability. I just hope that he has that confidence that he can be a good player. And at the end of the day, it's still just football. They've got to make plays too.
All right, so you beat Alabama as Oklahoma's quarterback, and you lost to them last year, unfortunately, as the quarterback of Texas A&M. What's the difference, or what was the most notable difference when you played them during a conference game? And then one more addition to that question, what's the game atmosphere like in College Station during a huge game? Because that's one place that most SEC fans, I know on the east side, have yet to experience.
Right. I think first of all, it's all about not beating yourself against those guys. They do an incredible job of doing what they do and doing it very well. And you look at our game against them last year where we ended up losing and we beat ourselves. We played probably 6 to 7 minutes of bad football, and that's all it took for them to just run away with that. They got a turnover that led to points, and then we had a couple brain farts on defense that allowed them to get more points. So it looked like the game got out of hand at the end. So they really just do a great job of not making mistakes, and in addition to that, capitalizing on your mistakes. But playing in College Station is difficult. A lot of people don't understand what the 12th man really is. And I was a guy growing up that hated A&M, to be quite honest. I was a Texas fan. That's where my dad went, and I thought all the swaying and the chants and things like that was weird. But you get inside of 100,000 plus fans swaying back and forth and really cheering their team on. It's a tough place to play. So again, I think A&M is still finding their identity as a team. They've played really well at times, and then they've played, subpar at times as well. And so for them to be able to come in and host Alabama and get a win out of it, I think they need to play a very, very confident and good game and not make too many mistakes that Alabama can capitalize on.
Speaking of having a chance to win this game, Coach Sumlin, you had an opportunity to play for him. What is he like as a head coach, and do you think his seat, even though they're 4-1 at the moment, is hot going into the second half of the season?
you look at it, and this is just my personal opinion. After being in college football for 5 years, I think the hot seat has become even more hot for any program nowadays. It's, there's 120 plus Division I programs, and they all want to win a national championship, and that's just not the way it's going to be. And if they don't win conference or national championships, they're calling for, the head coach's head. And so, I think playing for Coach Sumlin taught me a lot. I got to play for Coach Stoops at Oklahoma and then Coach Sumlin, and they're both incredible leaders.
Yeah.
Coach Sumlin specifically just does a great job with this program, again, instilling confidence, and he truly is a player's coach, and players want to play well for him. And so, head coach and the quarterback gets all the blame, but gets all the credit too. And so, they need to keep playing well. They need to win ball games, because at the end of the day, you got to win ball games to stick around. But I hope it's not the seat's not too hot for him at this point.
Geez, that was a great answer, Trevor. You kind of took my next question right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you, when you transferred from Oklahoma, how did Coach Sumlin attract you to come to Texas A&M, especially that you grew up a Texas fan? But I think we just got our answer right there. Let's switch gears a little bit. Oh, wait, but first, I got to ask your prediction, right? I mean, what do you think is going to happen this weekend? It's considered a big-time game. I want to remind you that Bama is a 26.5-point favorite. Which way are you going?
As a diehard Texas A&M fan now, I've got a lot of ties there, a lot of friends there and everything. I would love to see them come out and shock the world. But on a realistic standpoint, you look at what Alabama's doing right now and kind of the youth of Texas A&M, all cards are stacked against them. And so being a 26-point underdog, that's tough to overcome. But I'm still very hopeful that the Aggies can put it all together and come out with a win.
See, that's a great answer right there. That's what the kind of answer I should have used when the Dogs were playing Mississippi State. I could have had a little bit more of an enjoyable weekend in Athens, Georgia. You're politically.
That's the political answer.
Yeah, that's a great political answer right there. I got to take some notes. I'm taking notes right now. If I ever get stuck in that circumstance, to kind of use that answer.
All right, so you're in your rookie season in the NFL. You're currently a member of the Atlanta Falcons. What's it like being a part of the Brotherhood?
It's been awesome. I spent my preseason with the Arizona Cardinals and learned so much. I was there with Carson Palmer and Drew Stanton and Blaine Gabbert, and just great guys to be around, and watching Larry Fitzgerald every day. That was a great experience for me, but ended up getting picked up there in Atlanta, and it's been great so far. I'm a big culture guy. I believe in the culture of a team, and that leads to success. Of course, you got to have your X's and O's and a lot of talent, but if you got a good culture of guys playing for one another, that leads to success in my eyes. And so Dan Quinn does an incredible job of bringing in that brotherhood mindset. And it's been really cool to see big names like Julio Jones and Matt Ryan and Devontae Freeman buy into that. And it's always about my teammate, not all about myself. So I'm really excited about where I'm at right now, and really enjoying being a part of this brotherhood, like you said. And hopefully we can keep playing well. We lost a tough one this past week, but heading into the bye week this week, we'll regroup and get back to it come next weekend.
That's awesome. I know a lot of listeners of the Punt and Pass podcast are huge Falcons fans, so they'd love to hear you speak highly of the organization. I'll give you a little hot tip. I don't know if you're a golfer or not, but if you go out on the golf course with Matt Ryan, get as many strokes as you can, because he is pretty damn good at golf. And one more thing before we let you go. I did my due diligence. I researched you, so I went to the most trusted website, Wikipedia. It says you ran a 4.54 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine. Now, did you go to your own page and edit that, or are you really that fast? Because I know Murray is not that fast.
Well, they that's what they had me clocked at the Combine officially. So I didn't go add it in there myself, but I don't know if that was a faulty clock or not. But I'd like to say I can get up and going a little bit at least.
Yeah, I don't know how true Wikipedia is. If you go look at my page right now, it says I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and the first time I was in Detroit, Michigan was last year when we played Detroit. I had all these reporters coming up to me, hey, as the only member of the Eagles born in Detroit, can you kind of give us a little background? I'm like, I've never been there before. So
right.
if there's any listeners of the podcast that wants to go change my Wikipedia page, because you personally can't go change your own page, someone go please change it to Tampa, Florida. That would be awesome to get this Detroit talk out of the way.
I've been a victim of a Wikipedia change as well after a bad game here or there. You know, you can easily get touched up pretty quickly on old Wikipedia.com. But Trevor, my man, thanks so much for joining us. You were a great guest, and good luck with the Falcons for the rest of the season. We'll certainly be keeping tabs on you.
No doubt, guys. Again, appreciate y'all having me on, and look forward to doing this again sometime.
Appreciate it, Trevor. Thanks for having us.
All right. See you, Mike.
All right, that was very cool to have Trevor Knight on as our guest this week in the Punt and Pass podcast. Trevor able to take some time out of his busy NFL schedule to join us and chat ball, so we appreciate him. And, man, we've had some pretty decent guests, Aaron. Tyler Bray, Ben Jones, Trevor Knight, a good crew of some NFL and SEC ties. So always check back, and we'll let you know who we have next week on the Punt and Pass podcast. But now it's time to dive into our Week 6 previews. I mentioned it in the show open. The games that we are previewing this week: number 1 Alabama at Texas A&M, LSU at number 21 Florida. We're going to touch quickly on the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs going up to Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss is traveling to number 12 Auburn. Aaron, without further ado, the NFL team, the best team in college football, Alabama, man, they are just destroying people. I think it's going to be a lot of the same at Texas A&M this weekend in College Station. This game kicks off at 7:15. It's going to be on ESPN. I'm like watching the media narratives develop throughout the week, and they kind of just try to give Texas A&M any sense of hope that they can. But let's not forget, Bama is a 26.5-point favorite. This ain't going to be close. This defense forces turnovers, and the offense does not turn the ball over. That is a recipe for success.
Yeah, and one thing, like you just said, this offense it's 5 games in, and they've yet to turn the ball over. And defensively, unbelievable. I think they're giving up 8 points a game right now. I think Georgia's giving up 9.5. It's unbelievable what this defense has had to do. And now they're going against a true freshman quarterback, A&M's Kellen Mond. A kid who's actually played very well. I mean, if you look at this Texas A&M team, they could easily be 5-0 right now. They've won their past 4 games. They kind of crapped the bed versus UCLA in that fourth quarter. Or right now, we could be talking about 2 undefeated teams. And there's don't get me wrong, there is a huge difference, in talent when you look at these 2 rosters.
Yeah.
The coaching, everything. I mean, this is not going to be a close game. But this A&M team still is a good team. But if I'm a freshman quarterback and I'm going to play Alabama, unless your name's Johnny Manziel, you're going to be, you're going to be up late this next week, kind of just having some nightmares going against this defense. And like I said, the big thing is just the way this offense is playing. They're very balanced. Jalen Hurts has done an amazing job of not only passing the ball well, but he's leading the team in rushing. He's taking care of the football, and that's been the key since day one this offseason is take care of the football. Let our defense win games for you. And when something's there, if something's there, not there in the pass game, you have the legs to go out there and make plays in the run game with your feet, and he's been able to do that so far this year. So I don't think there's going to be much of a game. Texas A&M might play a little bit well early on. They do have a pretty good defense. They're able to get after the quarterback, but I just don't see this offense with a true freshman quarterback being able to put many points on the board.
So are you laying the points? You're laying 26.5 points. That's a lot. I mean, it's on the road too, but you just brought up a lot of good points. Freshman quarterback, Bama doesn't turn the ball over. And sure, A&M has a pretty decent front seven, but Jalen Hurts, he rolls out to the right every single play. If the pass is open, he throws it, and if not, he takes it down and runs for about 7 yards a clip.
Yeah, I'm taking him, and I think Alabama, I know it's been a few years, and I still think they are pretty pissed about, what happened when Johnny played them. I think they're pretty upset about the way they lost that game. And I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think this is a huge game for Alabama. I think they look at Texas A&M and say, they disrespected us a few years ago, and we're never going to let that happen again. And if you disrespect Nick Saban, you're never going to get off his bad side. So I think they're going to come in there with a pretty grumpy, pretty upset, and they're going to go put a whooping on Texas A&M.
So you're laying the 26.5.
I'm taking Bama with 26.5.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way. Don't bet against Alabama unless they give you a reason to. This is a freshman quarterback. Sure, A&M played really, really good for 3.5 quarters against UCLA to get up by a huge margin, but they lost the game, and they lost the game because their defense is not what it should be. They allow 387 yards per game. Bama's going to take control of this one early. They're going to do what Bama does, and I'm laying the points as well, Murray. I take Bama minus 26.5. points. Our next game, the LSU Tigers, fresh off a loss to Troy, travels to Gainesville, playing the Swamp. Number 21, Florida Gators. This is the 3:30 CBS game. Florida is the classic home favorite. They're given 3 points. These teams are very, very evenly matched up. I think this will be a close game. I think it'll be a good game. Obviously, LSU is going to have a bit more to play for to prove that they are not as bad as they showed a week ago, but Coach Orgeron has never won a road SEC game as a head coach, so I'm saying it right now. Lay the 3. Florida's going to win. Florida's going to win. Coach O, they go to 3-3, and he still is winless on the road in the SEC.
You want to talk about playing well at home, though? Jim McElwain is 13-1 at the Swamp, so yeah, that's pretty good playing at the Swamp as a head coach for everyone wanting to get on his back. And I think this Florida offense right now, kind of watching them last week, they're actually able to start running the ball, something that they want to do early in the year. They said, hey, listen, we have a great offensive line.
Yeah, they do.
Something we didn't see the first couple of weeks, but now those guys, just like Georgia's offensive line, starting to really mesh. They're able to run the ball. I'm still a little nervous. I love the fact that Felipe's back in there. I don't like the fact that they benched him for Del Rio, but obviously he's back with injury.
Yeah.
He still needs to take care of the ball. I mean, he's a guy that's hot or cold. He's going to go out there and launch a 70-yard Hail Mary to win you a game. He's going to throw some great post patterns down the field and show off his arm, but then all of a sudden he's going to throw in the triple coverage.
Yeah.
And he had a couple plays last week where I saw one in the red zone and went through 3 guys' arms, and I'm like, where is he throwing? And then another one, he's throwing a crossing route, nicked off a couple defenders, and somehow the Florida receiver caught it. And you're just like, this guy is living lucky right now. And if you're going to play an LSU defense that is young but still very talented, and you're going to try to make some of those throws, you're going to have some turnover. So if he does a good job of continuing to mature, taking care of the football, and they continue to build on this momentum they have in the run game right now, I really like this Florida team heading into this game. And for LSU, the big talk right now is for Matt Kennedy. Can he simplify this offense?
Yeah.
It's too complicated for these guys. There's too many motions, too many shifts. So I think they're going to kind of just dumb it down for these guys and just let them play fast, and just hopefully run the ball a little bit more, because I don't think Danny Etling can win you a game at the quarterback position. He can manage a game, but he's not going to go win you these big SEC games. You need to be able to run the ball with your running backs, with your offensive line. So if they're able to kind of simplify the offense a little bit, maybe they'll have some more success. But I still think Florida right now is in a good spot. They're getting better every week.
So you're going to lay the 3 and take the Gators.
I'm laying the 3 and taking the Gators in this one.
All right. And you know what? I agree with something you just said. Good coaches adjust to the players that they have. They don't bring in their philosophy and say, hey, do it. And it seems like Matt Canada has done that to this point. Man, look at the athletes you have. Get the ball to your playmakers in space and allow them to win you a football game. That sure as hell did not happen a week ago at home during homecoming when they lost to Troy. If Felipe Franks can avoid the pick 6 turnovers, I think Florida will win this game. So I'm laying the 3 points as well. We're on the same track. Next game, number 5, Georgia Bulldogs going up north to Nashville, Tennessee. They're playing Vanderbilt. This game is at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Heads up, though, if you're going to the game, it's at 11 a.m. local time in Nashville. Georgia's a 17.5-point favorite. Murray, I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on this game. Will Georgia win? Yes, absolutely. Will Georgia start slow? Probably. That's what happens in that soccer stadium that they play football in. It's going to be at 11 a.m. It'll be packed with Georgia fans because Vanderbilt has about 17 football fans. But I see a slow start. I see a sticking to the run game, forcing Vanderbilt to stack the box and then maybe take a few shots deep. I think Georgia wins this game 24-7 or maybe 27-10. So that 17.5 number that Vegas has set is very interesting to me. I think Georgia wins by 17 points, so they don't cover 17.5. I'm going to take the points for Vanderbilt, but Georgia wins, and it ain't going to be close. This game will be 24-0 late in the fourth quarter. Vanderbilt will score, and it will be a bad beat. So Georgia dominates, but late in the game, they don't cover because the hook comes into play. Those are my thoughts. Georgia goes to 6-0, and they continue to roll.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to roll this week. It's going to be interesting. I would love to kind of see that stadium. I'm sure they're going to show it on camera, and I guarantee you there's going to be 60-70% Georgia fans at this game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Vanderbilt, I don't think they have the juice that they had a couple weeks ago when they were undefeated going into play Alabama after a couple losses, and the way Georgia rolling, the way Georgia travels. It's going to be heavy, heavy dog nation. Almost like a home game for Georgia, honestly, at that stadium, which it usually is. And a couple stats that are just jumping up to me. Ralph Webb has just not played well this year for Vanderbilt. A guy who's played extremely well throughout his career has yet to even get 200 yards through 5 games this year. So something that if you're going to be one-dimensional versus Georgia defense, and I really like Kyle Shermer, the quarterback for Vanderbilt. I think watching him last week versus Florida, he made some great throws, but I just think if you're a one-dimensional offense, Georgia is just so capable with the front 4, the front 7 to get after the QB. So I don't see them being able to run. I don't see them being able to throw. And I just really love what Georgia's being able to do on offense. I think they're doing a great job of being creative, doing some trick plays, throwing the ball downfield, getting the ball into their playmakers' hands. And my second big stat for them is they're perfect in the red zone. They're 19 for 19 right now.
Ooh.
So when they're getting in the red zone, they're scoring, whether it's a field goal, whether it's a touchdown. Knock on wood, hopefully I didn't just jinx them right there. But that's a big stat. If you're able to get into the red zone, not just get in there, but get in there and get points.
Yeah, huge.
That's a huge stat right there. So between the lack of running game for Vanderbilt and the way Georgia is just playing complete football right now, I'm taking Georgia. I'm taking the points. I think that, like you said, they're going to start off slow.
So you're laying the points. You're taking Georgia.
I'm laying the points. Yep. Yeah, and I think that defense is going to get a couple turnovers early, which they've been doing a lot lately. I think they're going to get some turnovers because Vanderbilt's going to be put in some 3rd and longs, and that's just going to kind of ignite the offense come 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter.
I love it. And going back to my pick, I want to equate this somewhat to what the App State game was for Georgia fans. A dominant victory for Georgia, but they're going to put their 2s and 3s in, and Vandy might get a scrap touchdown late, and that hook comes into play. But Georgia goes to 6-0. There's no doubt. And the last game we're going to touch on real quick, man, these Auburn Tigers are getting pretty hot. Ole Miss, off the absolute beatdown to Alabama, travels to Jordan-Hare. This game's at 12 p.m. on SEC Network, and Auburn's giving 3 touchdowns, a 21-point favorite. Quick thoughts, Aaron.
Yeah, this is a team, Auburn, I liked a lot heading into the season. I thought they were a team that definitely could contend with Alabama in the West, and everyone was giving me some flack the first couple of weeks. Like, man, I thought you said Auburn was going to be good. Where are they at? And I just like, hey, listen, just let this quarterback get going in this system. Let him learn the speed of these defenses. And Jarrett Stidham for Auburn right now has just been on fire these past 3 games, just throwing the ball over the park. And also for Auburn, they finally had this past game was the first time their 2 stud running backs, Kerryon Johnson and Cameron Petway, were playing together at the same game. One's been hurt, the other's been hurt. They haven't been on the field together. And finally, you have those two back. Your quarterback's playing extremely well. We knew their defense would play well all season. So this is a team that is just, like I said, on fire on both sides of the football. They're getting better every single week. And for Ole Miss, it's the complete opposite. They started off strong, and these past couple weeks versus Cal, versus Alabama, Shea Patterson has not looked like the quarterback he was at the beginning of the season, throwing a lot of interceptions, not completing drives. So 21 points is a lot of points. What are you doing? Let me hear your thoughts real quick. I got to think about this one a little bit more. I'm not sure.
Auburn's defense has really picked up the slack. If they can affect Shea Patterson, as it seems like he gets affected by good defenses, then Auburn can score some points and get this one out of touch early. That stadium will be rocking. These fan base rallies around this football team. I'm going to lay the points here. I think Ole Miss is just on a bad track, and it's probably going to continue throughout the season. So I'll take Auburn. I'll lay the 21 points, and I'm going to go 4-0 this week. So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna go with you. I think Ole Miss right now, they don't have the leadership from the coaching standpoint. I think Shea Patterson does need to step up as a leader of this football team when things start to go bad. This is now his moment to shine, to show, hey, this is my team. This is my university. I'm going to go out there and show it. But
well, he wears number 20. He wears number 20 like the quarterback
it's very odd. It's very
from Friday
odd.
Night Lights. What's his name?
I know what you're talking about. It's going to drive me nuts.
What's his name? All right, if you know the name of the quarterback in the movie Friday Night Lights, tweet at us or Instagram us a picture of the quarterback at Punt and Pass, and we might have something special.
Wilson, there you go. I knew we'd figure out something.
Got it.
But anyways,
right
I'm
there.
going Auburn. They're going to cover the spread or however you say it, and
All right,
it's going to be a good day.
Excellent. Well, dude, that was a fantastic episode. Thanks for joining me. We are fired up for Week 6. We got another awesome slate of games. And before we go, shout out one more time to Micah-Lou85, who was our giveaway winner. Email us, puntandpass@gmail.com. We'll link up with you, and be sure to send that to you. And to all of our fans and listeners, continue to rate, review, and subscribe. Let's get the Punt and Pass podcast to top 10 on iTunes. That is our goal for this week. I know we can all make it happen together, but thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next week right here on the Punt and Pass podcast. See ya.